so much. I'm very excited that you're here.
Thank you.
So
You're welcome.
you're so welcome. So this is National Sounds of Gospel. This is our radio, TV, and video show. So excited to have you here and excited to talk about what you have going on, what's been going on, and talk about this journey that you've been on. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and just allowing us into your space to see what's been going on with you. So, for those who don't know, Miss Chrisette Michele is a Grammy award-winning recording R&B artist. She's passionate about helping others find their true inner peace and their faith. She's a philanthropist. She loves to give back, an entrepreneur, and her spirit just reeks. And I'm so excited to have her here on the show with us. Chrisette, thank you again for being with us. So, one, how have you been doing, sweetie?
I've been good. I get that question about 6 times a day. And that's the only answer I have is I've been good. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And so here recently, I was reading a press release, and it says that in regards to the industry, you've been gone 7 years. What kind of journey have you been on?
Sure. So I haven't been gone 7 years per se, but I've
Okay.
kind of been gone just to what people kind of think I am. So it's kind of like I've just been on a personal journey for 7 years. But what do you mean when you say gone? Because I just want to
Well,
make
I mean, as far as not so much in the industry per se, but just really working, working on everything that God may be having you do, like the journey where your faith and stuff lies, like how that's been coming along during this time.
Sure. So yeah, so ever since like the cancellation that happened some years back, it's been a time for me to sort of regroup and see where I belong. There was this period in time where I felt like okay, no one sees me, like no one knows who I am as a person. And I had sang this song with Travis Green on this big stage, and his music, shot up the charts, and I was canceled. We sang the same song. And so there was a period of time where I kind of wondered, how come people saw him but they didn't see me? And
Mm.
so I took some time to kind of figure out my voice, figure out like what it means when I say something versus when somebody else says something, and how we have to be unique and individual in how we offer our truth.
Right.
And so that part of the journey kind of led me to just being as quiet as I could be, so
Mm-hmm.
that I could really just start to hear my own voice, my own insides. And I realized that there was so much on the inside of me that I had wanted to share over the years,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a 15-year journey now.
Nice.
Um, but that I never really shared. And so I realized that moment 7 years ago was the first time where a lot of people heard me say who I was. They might have seen who I was, but they had never heard me say it. And that saying it caused a major pivot in my life. And so it was the beginnings of me saying, okay, who am I and how do I say it? Not how does Travis Green say it? Not how
Right.
does Beyonce say it? Not how does Mariah, how does Chrisette Michele express herself? And it's been a 7-year journey, I guess you could say, of me sort of stripping away the layers of the way that I used to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
and and being brave about just communicating in my own kind of soft way.
Right. Where even though it's soft, it's bold because now they see you and they hear you. I understand where you're coming from with that because they've always called me the sunshine. My family calls me sunshine. I'm that flower. My little sister feels like she has to protect me because I was never that one to, stand up and just speak. But I feel like you. It's like if somebody else, would say something, they would hear them. But if I came and said the same thing, they wouldn't hear me. So I understand where you're coming from with that. And is a good feeling to be like, okay, I'm not alone in this. This is really good. We're coming together to be able to where God is bringing us forward to show who we really truly are. And thank God, thank you for being able, one, sharing that and sharing that piece of your journey, because there's a lot of us out there that need to hear that we can come forth and we can be strong, and and even in our quietness we can still stand bold. So thank you for that.
Sure.
I'm really excited. Let's talk about um, your tour that's coming up.
Mhm.
Soft Light Circle Inner Wellness
Mhm.
Tour. Now, and during this tour, what are the things that we're going to learn, and what are you going to bring forward to the table to help other women and other people, period, find their inner peace and talk about mental wellness from your standpoint.
Yeah, sure. So the journey, this life has been long, and you find different ways to keep coming back to yourself, keep coming back to what's on the inside of you. And if we miss that practice of continual grounding, of continual mindfulness, then we'll lose our way. I think it's that simple. When you're Christian and you've given your heart to God, and taken on his mind, and you've decided, you know what, I want to hear God's thoughts in my head instead of these crazy things that the world is telling me,
Mhm.
then that regrouping, that centering, that mental health is pivotal, because now your discipline is not just to hear your mind and the world's mind and society, but it's to hear from God. So, in the same way that you might practice mental wellness as somebody thinking from the society standpoint, you have to practice mental wellness as somebody hearing the voice of God. So, the same meditation has to happen, the same quietness has to happen, the same inner prayer has to happen. And so that's kind of what the tour is about. In the beginning, we do some meditation exercises and we just learn how to be quiet for a second. I find people have a really hard time with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll eat together, we'll sing together, we'll talk together. Um, but the tour is about becoming mindful and then bringing mindfulness back into the world.
One scripture comes to mind, Romans 12:2,
Mhm.
that and be not conformed to this world, but be ye
Mhm.
transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye
Mhm.
may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. There is so many, um, there's so many of us out there that don't know that time with God, because of everything that's going on in the world. The world is completely noisy. And of
Mhm.
course, Satan doesn't want us to be able to hear what God is trying to tell us, how he's trying to lead us, how he's trying to lead us in purpose. And it's amazing that you would say that the meditation, you have prayer is one and meditation is another, so that you can just sit and listen. I can tell you one thing. I was doing my granddaughter's hair the other night, and she was sitting in the chair and she was sitting with her legs folded. She's only 7, but she was sitting and she had her hands in position and she had her eyes closed. And I looked at her and I said, "Are you meditating?" And she said, "Yes, Nana, I do yoga at school." And
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, that is, I told her, I said, "You know what? We're going to have to sit and meditate together." Nana meditates. But, the concept, so many of us don't know about the concept of sitting and just allowing God to take over our thoughts and take over our minds. And I think that is very, very important, that so that we can know
Yeah,
where we're being led.
yeah. And there's a difference between prayer and meditation, and that's why I love to sort of, prayer is more of a like a listening and meditation is more of like a discipline, you know, like what am I listening to? What am I letting be repeat? What am I letting repeat itself in my ear? But prayer gives you that initial mantra, if you will, or that initial affirmation or those initial thoughts. And then to meditate on what God says
Hmm.
is a lifestyle. You
Yes,
know,
it
that's
is.
what you walk out into the world with. So, yeah.
See, I'm already in meditation mode right now. You can't see me, but I'm so I'm so ready to just sit and meditate. Now, let me ask you this question. What are your time frames? Because I know the Lord wakes me up between 3 and 5. Does he have a
Hmm.
certain time frame for you?
The same. And okay, so, and this is a whole other workshop, right?
All
But when
right.
it comes to intercession and there's warfare, then it happens more towards the midnight hour.
Hmm.
But when it's like, all right, this is where you're going today. This is what I'm asking you to be and do. It's
Hmm.
between that 3 and 5 hour, and it literally informs your day.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
I'm always concerned as to how people kind of experience a God-led life without that part.
Right.
Um, but I know what it means to numb yourself. I
Hmm.
know what it means to sleep through that hour on purpose because you
Hmm.
just don't want to hear anything. I
Right.
know what it feels like to be in so much pain that sleep is such a better idea than hearing. And so I understand why, you know, people can sleep through that, but it's become my life's bread.
I got the chills.
Mhm.
I am so loving this, and it's something because when you walk outside, you don't look at this world the same at all anymore. Once you've been awakened, you truly don't look at anything the same anymore. I mean, now one thing that I wanted to, because I was so excited about this to speak to you. Let me ask you this question. In this journey with God, how he speaks to you, how he moves you, how he directs you. When you're outside, do you affirm with nature? Have you seen the difference as the way nature is now when the wind blows, God is speaking? How does that work with you?
Do you mean like literal nature, like the clouds and the trees, etc., or do you
Yes.
mean,
Yes. The clouds, the trees, the birds, the wind.
yeah? I come from a prophetic background, so my grandfather was a prophet,
Uh-huh.
and so a lot of times we kind of see things that aren't actually there. So I might see clouds doing things that, you know, just show me what's happening in the atmosphere. I might see different movements in the environment that are more spiritual than actual.
Mhm.
Um, but in general, as somebody who travels a lot, there are different parts of the world that feel more connected spiritually than other parts.
Right.
There's different parts of the world that you can feel more warfare in the air than in other parts. It's very evident, um, and it helps you to know where the Lord is sending you, where
Mhm.
He's asking you to stand. Maybe pray, maybe sing, maybe speak. And sometimes there's places where you're being asked kind of not to go for certain periods of time. So there's safety in that clarity for sure.
Wow. And that's amazing. It is something that, especially when you travel, when God will send you certain places to do certain things.
It's
Um,
really hard sometimes because you'll go somewhere to sing and
mhm.
you'll pick up, for instance, a spirit of drug addiction.
Mm,
And you know that when you perform tonight, people will hear you singing songs, but you're powering through this thick cloud of drug addiction. And you know that if you can just get through the show, that there'll be breakthroughs. You
mhm.
don't really talk about it. You're an R&B singer. Nobody knows, you know, what you really are on the inside. But, you know, when you get to the merch booth and people are crying and telling you that they've been changed, you know why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So, when choosing the cities that you
Mhm.
were going to tour in, mm, did God show you the areas specifically where He wanted you to go?
This is the first time in my career
Hmm.
where I have felt the inclination to go where there's a need for me.
Mm.
I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense
Oh, it
because
makes
it
sense to me. Go ahead.
makes sense.
You're good. Yes, it
Okay.
does.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time where I feel that inclination. I've gone to so many places where I'd be paid, I'd be set up well, I'd have whatever services, etc., but I just didn't feel needed. It was a name that people might want or a, association, but it wasn't because they needed my gift or what it is that I had to offer. They needed my talent, and that's completely different.
Right.
Now, for this tour, the need for what's on the inside of me, the gift, this is the first time where I'm going out to share my gift, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes complete and perfect sense. And I know right now my spirit is jumping on the inside. Is jumping on the inside because there's been a huge shift in the atmosphere um, when it comes to the giftings, and they're needed more now than ever before. And
Mm,
so my husband and I just came back from a trip per se for my birthday. And
mhm.
every place where we went, we always ask God to use us within our gifts and to either speak through us or have someone speak to us in word. And every place where our feet trampled, God moved.
Mm,
And it was just an amazing journey. I mean, we just got quiet driving back, and I
yeah,
couldn't stop praising God driving back for a whole week. We saw God
wow.
move every single day and was used when we got to our final destination. And he just kept you like I couldn't shake everything. He was just steady speaking, steady speaking. And I'm like, Bishop, not even a bishop, but the mantle, you can see it. And God was just steady, steady moving, and it's amazing to know that we're hearing him when he's saying now we're moving in purpose and destiny for what he needs us to do for the kingdom and go in these places because we won't go unless God tells us to. So
Right,
if
right.
you can't just go on your own recognizance because if you do, if God didn't send you there, something or anything could happen, and we've seen it happen in the Bible. Doesn't mean it's gonna stop then. It's still happening today. Don't be
Mhm.
disobedient. Okay, we're walking in the Abraham walk. We're not walking the
Right.
Lot walk. Hello.
Isn't that incredible? I was listening to Tabitha Brown's interview with Earn Your Leisure, and there are just God-led people that are coming out and going where they're supposed to go. I don't know why corporate America at a time thought it was okay to just throw artists everywhere and just make so much noise with the exploitation of God's kids.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we're coming out of. And it sounds like you understand that
Yes.
maybe better than I do. But what you're saying makes so much sense. And it's people like yourself and Tabitha Brown and these people who can hear and they're okay with the fact that, that's not what I heard. I'm not going to go over there. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different time. And I think we feelers finally feel kind of safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Not
it
because
does.
everything's going to be perfect, but because no, I'm not going there. And as a community of believers that are saying no thanks to the noise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Here and see, here's the other thing. I know when God first began to gift me, and he began gifting me at a young age.
Mhm.
And so only a couple of people in my family knew of the gifts that, I was able to move in without feeling weird,
Yeah.
or feeling, you know, by myself per se. Um, and it feels so good to be able to be with other believers and to speak to other believers and to, just, I mean, even though we're not in the same vicinity, I can feel your spirit. Like, and I'm just jumping on the inside because the anointing is just flowing. Like, God is just like, yes, okay, yes, this is, I put y'all together, do this. But I love it. And it is a good feeling, because especially when you are a feeler, a healer, a seer, you can, any gifts that God has put you in, you don't feel alone. But now it's even more of an empowerment to continue to move in these gifts because there's a big job that we have to do, with these gifts as intercessors, as fillers, as seers, and we can't walk away from it. And one thing about it that I know, that I do not want him on my back. I will not be disobedient to the spirit. And I know for a fact you won't be disobedient to the spirit. And, whether they like it or not, whatever thus said the Lord, whatever he says do, that's what's going to be done. And
Yeah.
I love this. I love this about, and I can just feel that, feel that off you. So I know for a fact that you're coming to Dallas. Yay. In July. Hello. We'll be there. Most definitely with bells on. So now that you're getting ready to start this tour, and how long will you be in each city?
A couple of days in each city. We want to spend some time, just like you said, like in the actual city, kind of
Mhm.
hanging with folks. That's one of my things, is to kind of get to know communities. And I feel like in the last 7 years, a lot has shifted, and I
Mhm.
just want to feel it. And I want to feel it in the cities that are asking for me to be there. I just want to know what their needs are. So we'll be in each city for a few days, just feeling it out.
Awesome, awesome. Now, how can people get in contact with you as far as getting tickets, for the tour? Are you on social media? Are you on IG? How can one communicate?
Sure. So ticket sales are at the softlifecircle.com. I want to give a special code to your listeners,
Sure.
called Soft Heart, SOFTHEART. And that's for 50 off of the tickets. But yeah, you can go to the softlifecircle.com. You can come hang out with me on Instagram at Chrisette Michele with one L, and all the links for everything's in my bio. Also, if you guys don't know, I have an online boutique called Moody, which is so much fun. And a lot of times people will come dressed in Moody to different shows. So we've got, all kinds of sizes and fits there. But yeah, the softlifecircle.com.
Awesome. And we have to give a huge shout out to Mrs. Erin Fleeks. Hello. We want to thank you so much for bringing Chrisette here on the show. Erin, look, we're going to continue to blow you up. Any and everything that you have going on, we most definitely want to be a part of it. And I truly, truly want to thank you, Chrisette, for your time, for sharing your testimony and sharing your message. And we cannot wait to be a part of Soft Life Circle Inner Wellness Tour. We will most definitely be in the house with you. So we want
Thank
to say thank you so much.
I so appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys have been listening to National Sounds of Gospel radio show. Make sure you catch our video show. You can, is on VOD, and we'll give out all of the links to the show where you'll be able to see it. But again, we have been right here with Miss Grammy Award winning Chrisette Michele. Thank you so much. Make sure you
You're
guys
so
tune
welcome.
in. Make sure you guys tune in every Friday right here on iHeartRadio.